let's win this game. SKOL Vikings, let's win this game. SKOL Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S, SKOL Vikings, let's go.
You are a smelly pirate hooker. I'm not that fat.
Viking Nation, prepare to enter Valhalla with the most entertaining podcast of the Minnesota Vikings. And now, Odin's Den with A-Train and the Hammer.
This is Nate Wright, and you're now listening to Odin's Den.
Why, thank you, Nathaniel. Welcome back, everybody, after 2 months almost of radio silence after I got that beautiful sub button for me. And we showed off some sweet merchandise for that giveaway winner in Australia. Here we are back again. It's March 20th. What's going on? Are you alive over there?
A-Train, how the hell are you?
I'm doing all right. Man. I'm doing all right. How the hell are you, bud?
It's been a tough couple months for me personally. Nate Wright.
Mm-hmm.
I had known the guy a couple years now, known him personally.
Correct.
His girlfriend passed away about a month and a half ago because of COVID. So just like to say R.I.P. to her. My thoughts and prayers and feelings go out to Nate. Heart's been aching for the guy for a while.
When do you get to see him again? Or when did you see him last? Probably not since a couple of years now.
It's been about 2 years since I saw him. Yeah, I haven't been able to fly down there to visit him. It's, COVID.
You usually do that in Feb, don't you?
February or April. I've done it both. The last couple of years, it's been February. I'm not going to be traveling down there this year either, though. So it will be at least another year until I can hang out with my buddy Nate Wright again. But it was sad hearing about that.
No doubt.
So I'm going to pour one out for her.
Hell yeah, we can put. Well, not these Caribou coffees, but I got some Captain Morgan upstairs. We can have a drink after the episode and pour one out for her. You're probably not listening, Nate, but if you are, condolences, sir. That's a very shitty thing, and us and everybody else can't wait for this pandemic to be the fuck out of here.
Well, aside from trying to cope with that unfortunate death, I mean, aside from that, things are going all right for yours truly, I suppose.
Your dad's snowbirding, isn't he?
Yeah. My dad is also in Arizona right now, snowbirding.
Some people might be confused by that term, especially our overseas listeners, but essentially in the Midwest in the United States, when the winter comes around, especially the worst months of the winter, the coldest times of the winter, a lot of the, older folks, maybe not even older, just you have the means and the capability, you like to escape the semi-awful winters here, the scraping your windshield, the shoveling your driveway, the freezing cold that makes your bones ache. You like to escape it and go to a nicer state. A lot of people go to Arizona, maybe Florida, maybe California. I know Arizona's pretty popular, I think, in this area.
A warm weather state. Yeah, people.
Yeah, really.
Snowbirding, that's just that term where someone that lives up here maybe gets like a timeshare.
Right.
In a resort.
Or you got a condo or something.
Yeah, resort or someplace to hang out in a warm weather state that's further south. So that's what my dad's been doing for actually about 2 months now.
Just like birds flying south for the winter. Yeah, I think my neighbors actually are doing the same thing. I doubt they'll be listening, but it's been kind of nice in this townhome. It feels like it's all to myself because I've never really had a neighbor on one side, and I haven't seen hide nor hair of them for the last month. So yeah, let's the A-Train kick back a little bit, crank up the sound bar, and smoke a cigar in the garage, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's good to be back here in the studio with you. Get things back to normal a little bit.
Yeah,
This is good. This is good.
Yeah, the off season, it's always not as much to talk about, not as many episodes. And yeah, it's, everybody's kind of taking a break from things sometimes lately. Things are hopefully going to get back to normal in general. And with this podcast, we try to go month to month. That hasn't really happened yet for the beginning of the year, but
Well, I do have an appointment to get the COVID vaccine.
Cool. I have not had it yet. I know my parents did, but I will definitely take it. I don't feel as urgent having had it, and probably still having some antibodies, but obviously it's something that we'll all probably just start taking along with a flu shot every year.
I got a text from Sanford this past week letting me know you're eligible for the vaccine now, so please call and schedule the appointment for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if I'm getting in earlier than everyone else my age because I have an essential job or what the deal is, but
or they've just in North Dakota there's been enough people that have gotten it where they're doing the next segment of just opening it up to more and more.
Well, right, but like you and a couple of our other buddies that are my same age didn't get that text.
Well,
I'm the only one that got that text.
When you talk about that text, yes. I technically, because I was door dashing, I actually, because of that, I would have been considered an essential worker with the food delivery, and actually could have probably had it by now already with that, but just didn't really bother. And I kind of cooled it on the door dashing after I had a little accident a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Okay, well, I do have an essential job, but it might not have anything to do with that, so who knows? But at any rate,
we're not a big state. There's like not even 1 million people in the state of North Dakota. Probably not going to be too long for us to hit all them shoulders with the needle. You know what I mean? So anyway, especially in getting the bigger cities out of the way before they get to the rural areas. But yes, hope everybody's staying safe out there. Welcome back. It's episode 127. Let's go ahead and
give
move
Purple Pain a
into it
shout
here.
out.
Oh, of course. We've got a few, not partnerships, but just loose affiliates that we like to recommend them. They like to recommend us. But yes, let's go ahead and move on here. Yes, the Purple Pain forums, of course, still like usual. If you want to check us out on there, if you want to just chat with other Vikings fans.
Great place to go for pro day stuff, draft stuff. A lot of hardcore Viking fans on that forum. That's a great forum.
Anything with some good old-fashioned business.
God damn it, I like the way you do business.
You can see all the business.
Yeah, I love the way
there.
Purple Pain does business.
That's right. PurplePainForums.com. You can chit-chat over there. The other shout-out, a newer shout-out, is the VikingsGazette.com. Yes, Gazette, just like you think it's spelled. Yeah, VikingsGazette.com. It is kind of a little news article site.
Like an online newsletter sort of thing?
Yeah. Yep. That we started communicating with, and we're just going to be recommending them as kind of a news source. We don't do a lot with our blogs or our articles. Every once in a while I get a wild hair up my ass and I write an article. Hammer used to do his Final 53 or his draft potential stuff, but we haven't done too much of that lately. But we've never claimed to be a news source on the blog site anyway. We want to bring you on the podcast a lot of what's going on if we can, and try to catch everything. But we're not really just pumping out blog articles and things of that nature. A lot of other great websites for that.
Well, Viking Gazette, welcome aboard.
Yep, VikingGazette.com. Go check them out. Check out Purple Pain. And then the other one really was just a great source, for all podcasts, including ours, which is the Purple Territory Radio. I think they're still kind of working on the site over there, of course, part of Vikings Territory. But it's this kind of like an overall podcast network.
But it's just an aggregate
Viking,
website
correct.
With like 80 Viking podcasts on there to choose from. Okay.
Correct. Yep. So definitely continue to check out all three of these other sites that we like to say hey and tip our hats to.
Do you think there's anyone out there that listens to every single Viking podcast?
I doubt it. I think a lot of people just have maybe one or two, especially depending on how often. Like, if you listen to us with our frequency, you could easily listen to other ones. There's ones that'll do, there's plenty that are pumping stuff out daily. you're probably, depending how much free time you have, you're probably, spending a decent amount of time listening to your SKOL North, whatever it is. Maybe your Purple for the Win, whatever one of your ones that's pumping out daily stuff. You probably got your hands tied listening to that. It's more the once a month or once a week. You got a lot of other time to maybe dabble in another podcast, which is absolutely fine. Hammer's not mad or anything.
I'm not.
But yes, I would say you're either a podcast person or you're not. I like podcasts. I listen to many podcasts. Comedy, comedians, sports, whatever.
E-Train sounds a little angry over there.
I'm a podcast person. So there's some people who are just like, I just like one or two, but yeah. I just like to, I'm very detail-oriented, and I like to ramble my dumb brain into oblivion and my foot into my mouth. So perfect.
Excellent!
But yes, check out Purple Pain Forums, the Vikings Gazette, and the Purple Territory Radio alongside of the Vikings Territory. All good stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and, like I said, it's been almost 2 months. Let's start getting into the news and the updates and all of that stuff. And I just realized I don't even have that title to play. So good job on me. You know what? I'm going to actually play something that it's some of the most exciting news for me in the last couple of months of somebody coming back to the team. Let's go ahead and revisit, shall we?
Oh, yes, let's.
Our favorite notable player who's now back, who's kind of snooty. And now, a message from number 91, Stephen Weatherly. Hello, I'm TV's Stephen Weatherly. Have you been on TV lately? Not only am I playing an active role on the team, I was in a tournament for Apex. What about you? Loud noises frighten me, to be honest. I don't really like fireworks, but I do love tearing apart the opposing quarterback. Another thing that scares me is my Madden rating. A 70? Get real, EA. Football is like a chessboard, and you just got castled, bitch. Welcome back, Stephen Weatherly.
You
probably
just got castled?
Probably won't be number 91.
What's
but
wrong with checkmating a guy?
He'll be castling in no time, bitch.
Oh, so random.
Random? He's back.
No, just the stuff you said in the...
Hey, that was all well vetted out. He was really in an Apex tournament. He really does like chess. I mean...
Well, now you made that drop pretty much right after we drafted him 5 years ago, right?
That was the third message from Stephen Weatherly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Of our pre-recorded segments you won't find anywhere else. But yes, we like to have fun, comedy, pre-records, but yes.
Oh, I love getting Weatherly back.
But yes, let's that's kind of the precursor to going into the news, one of many signings that we're excited about. But let's go ahead and just start here.
Free agency news, baby.
I'm just going to start going through the things I've screenshotted here in no particular order, including coaching staff. The first thing we'll start with here is, since we've been gone, is shout out to Kelly Clarkson. Gary Kubiak announces retirement. And that was on January 21st. So the Coobs is gone, and I do believe his son is taking his shoes, correct?
That is correct.
Probably should have prepared the follow-up, not just the departure, but I believe, if I remember correctly, that is what I saw.
Yep, Clint Kubiak is now our offensive coordinator.
So we still got the Denver Mafia going strong.
Yeah, just minus Gary.
Correct. I'm okay with that. All right, moving on here. College football team... this is just commenting on that a college football team, LSU, has hired our defensive back coach, Durante Jones, to be their defensive coordinator. So we lost a DB coach, but then we brought in former Pro Bowl wide receiver Keenan McCardell. He joined our staff as a wide receiver coach. I believe he was a Jaguar.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We got Keenan McCardell on our coaching staff now. That is interesting.
And that's why I kind of just take these snippets along the way, because you think I can remember anything from anything. No, I cannot.
Well, I can't either. No, most people can't.
That's why I do all these snippets, because even as interesting as some news potentially is, you just can't keep track of it all. Okay, moving on here through my snippets that I screenshotted. Greg Joseph is a new set of legs on the team, if you will. Kicker Greg Joseph, assuming he's going to be replacing the ever-so-cut Dan Bailey.
I have no idea who Greg Joseph is.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to try to find that out right now while you're talking.
All right. We do our research here at Odin's Den, I tell you what. I'll just cover some coaches here. Right. Clint Kubiak, new offensive coordinator. Andrew Janoko is a new quarterback coach. And then, of course, already mentioned Keenan McCardle, the new wide receiver coach. Those are probably the three most significant or main moves in the coaching staff. Let's see here. It looks like we also hired Martin Nance as executive vice president. Blah, 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 front office. We hired Paul Gunther as a senior defensive assistant. Looks like he was a Raider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So about that kicker there, you got that over there, bud?
Yeah, he went undrafted in the 2018 draft. He initially signed as an undrafted free agent to the Miami Dolphins. They cut him, looks like, just before the 2018 season started, so he didn't make the team. And then a couple weeks after that, the Browns signed him, and he replaced Zane Gonzalez. And after 20... Yeah, he actually went to the XFL for a while. Then he came back in November 2019. He signed to the Carolina Panthers practice squad. Then the Tennessee Titans signed him off of their squad. But then they waived him September of last year after they signed Steven Gostkowski. Then he signed to the practice squad at Tampa Bay later on. And then in February this year, he just signed with the Vikings. So he's been all over.
I was going to say, it sounds like he shows up at a place, spends about a month there, and then leaves.
Yeah,
and then showed up and then left, and then showed up and then left, and then showed up and then left.
No earthly idea if he's a good kicker or not.
I feel like my gut wants to say if he was an exceptional talent, he wouldn't have moved around so much. But there's really a lot of other moving parts in those decisions, though, too. So.
Well, I mean, Daniel Carlson got cut, 2 games into his rookie year, and he's turned out to be pretty good for the Raiders.
Well, apparently our person teaching him didn't know how to teach very well. But anyway, we don't need to dwell on the past. All right, what else do I have here? That's stupid rumors. Oh boy, what do we got here? Just a little tidbit of positive vibes, if you will. Kirk Cousins' red zone passing since 2018, 63 touchdowns and 1 interception. Did you know that?
I did not.
There's, of course, there's always the talk about him, and still a decent amount of the fan base wants him gone, and then the other half of the fan base is pointing out all of his amazing stats that are just like, damn, all right. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Kyle Rudolph is probably one of the saddest, one of the more sadder cuts that he's been around for a long time, and it's always sad to see him go. Rudy is now gone, and we save $5 million under the cap by releasing him after 10 seasons. A lot of people sad about that, but when it's time, it's time. What do you think about that, Hammer?
We're actually saving
Hammer is speechless.
$8 million after June 1st by cutting him.
Wow. All right. He would have had a salary of $7.65 million in 2021. Yeah. But it's not until June that we get the money.
June 1st cut.
Yeah. But yeah, nobody wants to see him go. Did a lot of good things with his foundation, the hospitals in Minneapolis. But, yep. Bon voyage. Did he have a? Does
It
he
was
have
a
another
necessary move. What's that?
right. Does he have another team? Did he have another team yet or no?
He signed with the Giants.
Giants. Yeah.
Yeah, the Giants, they got a little upset that we took another one of their D linemen, so they said, you know what? We're going to take Odenabo and Kyle Rudolph. So there. They sure owned us.
Yeah, and nothing of value was lost. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's a good
Settle
situation
down,
for
everybody.
Kyle Rudolph anyway. I mean, Evan
Yeah.
Ingram is their number one tight end, so
No, settle down there.
I mean,
Hammer.
Kyle Rudolph should see a lot of, man-to-man or loose coverages, and not a bad situation for him to go to.
I think he's still got some gas in the tank. I feel like we weren't really using him a lot the last couple of years anyway. So
Well, we were using him mostly as a red zone target here and there, and
right,
we were kind of asking him to do a little more blocking.
he should do well over there. I feel like we weren't using our tight ends as much as we could have been as targets, but yes,
It was just a salary cap move. It had to be done.
correct. All right, and of course we've already mentioned it. I was super excited to see that Stephen Weatherly signed a 1-year deal for $2.5 million, returning to the Vikings with incentives that could make it $3 million.
Oh, I love it.
And he said, "I'm ecstatic. I'm on cloud 9. He spent the last year with Carolina before being released." They released him? What, did he beat everybody in chess so badly? They just said, hit the bricks, hippie, or what?
I wonder if that might have been a salary cap move for the Panthers too, because he was set to make, I think, $6 million, and they just decided it wasn't worth it. I'm guessing, and we brought him back for $2.5.
Right. Big cap issues we're trying to wiggle with, but a lot of moves have been happening, and we're kind of freeing it up.
Well, we needed a defensive end, a pass rusher, and we got him.
Mm-hmm.
I like the move personally. I've heard other Viking fans kind of saying, "Oh, we should have kept Odenabo instead of Weatherly. Like, we could have kept Odenabo for the same amount of money, like with his restricted tender. Like if we had tendered him a contract."
I feel like he was just warming up last season.
he was a
Fadi.
restricted free agent.
Yeah.
And I think you could argue both sides of that. But
Yeah.
personally, I would want to go with Weatherly. That's just
right.
me.
I mean, it's like us liking Teddy. We kind of have a soft spot for Weatherly. He's a good dude. We like him on the Vikings, video network on their YouTube channel. Common interest. Seems like a good dude. Seemed like he was growing as a player. Just all around good stuff,
Yes, sir.
All around good stuff. All right. And then of course, like we already kind of commented in the kicker department. Of course, we released Dan Bailey, saving $1.7 million in cap room.
I'm a little torn on that move personally.
Yeah, I think I texted you that. It was either that or was it Riley Reeve?
Yeah, you texted me when Dan
Reeve?
Bailey got cut.
Dan too, yeah.
Your sentiment was, good riddance. Holy
Right.
shit. I was a little more torn on it because Dan Bailey, I think he's still the most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL. Or if he's not, he's at least second or third
Well, he wasn't acting like it the last two
all time.
seasons.
And yeah, he had a bad game or two.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I could see him bouncing back and just being a stud.
Yeah, we thought that about Blair too.
But I mean, I understand the move too. I'm okay with it. I was a little torn, but even if Dan Bailey ends up being good for whoever signs him next, it's not a bad move.
Right.
It's understandable.
Mm-hmm. I just want consistent kicking. Is that too much to ask? When me and a lot of other fans don't see it, let's bring somebody else in to see if they can do it. That's really just a sentiment.
Such a nightmare position for us.
It's an easy sentiment to take. Maybe it's not a fair sentiment to take, but it's really easy to have, and it's a very simple sentiment. If he ain't going to do the job, find somebody who will. All right. Apparently, according to Pro Football Talk, as well here within the last, I think, just couple of weeks, we had an offer on the table for Mackenzie Alexander. People kind of been saying he might come back. What do you think of that if he'd come back?
It would depend on the money. I wouldn't want to, pay him much more than $3 or $4 million.
Right.
And right now, we couldn't actually afford to have him at more than a $3.3 million cap hit. Because the $8 million isn't going to clear until after June 1st, off of Kyle Rudolph's contract. Bringing McKenzie back to play the slot on the field, that would work fine. I don't know. I mean, if they want Jeff Gladney to develop, though, I mean, you kind of can't take snaps away from him either.
Right. You shouldn't, yeah.
I mean, it'd be decent value to bring Mackenzie Alexander back around $3 or $4 mil. But otherwise, I would say, you know what, just let Jeff Gladney play the slot and we'll call it good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of freeing up money, which we've been doing a lot of.
Bitch better have my money.
Adam Thielen, of course, agreed to a Vikings proposed restructure, and that freed up $8 million of cap space. We just kind of moved it around a little bit, extended it a little bit. He'll, of course, be making the same money.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's just kicking the can down the road, really.
Right? Passing the buck, as they say.
We'll
worry about this issue later.
It's something we had to do in order to be able to bring in, you know, these couple of guys we brought in.
Correct.
That you're getting into very soon, I know.
Mm-hmm. Another one who is gone. Like I said, I'm just kind of like, I'm not looking at the list here on the website. I'm just kind of peeling through my little snippets that I've saved over the last month. And of course, I think this was just today or yesterday, but Anthony Harris posted on social media saying goodbye to Minnesota. So he is, we can assume, officially gone at this point.
He's a class act. He just signed with the Eagles.
Oh, yep. You said that before the podcast. Yep. That was just today, right?
I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
Like last night sometime, I believe.
Right. And just for reference, we're recording this on Saturday afternoon on March 20th.
March 20th.
Correct. All right. And then this is kind of interesting. I'll just touch on this quick as I'm going through my news here. It was apparently confirmed that the Vikings will be forfeiting their 7th round pick in the 2021 draft due to a 2019 salary cap violation. 3 team officials have been fined $10,000 each. The Vikings have already taken off the website the number 242 pick overall in the 7th round. Most people were scratching their heads at this news going, what the fuck?
So it was sort of like a Joe Smith with the Minnesota Timberwolves situation, but on a much, much smaller scale, is my understanding of it. As you remember, God, how many years ago was it now? Like 15 or 20 years ago, something like that. Maybe even 25 years ago. That Joe Smith guy that played for the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves tried signing him to a contract under the table to try to get around the salary cap, and they got caught. They haven't reported what the exact violation was regarding this practice squad player from the year before last.
But we did something we shouldn't have, apparently.
Yeah.
Allegedly, we did something we shouldn't have.
Well, I'm sure they did if they got punished and got fined. I'm guessing there was some evidence somewhere.
All right. Yeah, well, it's,
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't matter.
7th
Spielman's
rounder.
going to trade down. He'll get his 7th rounder back anyway. That won't matter.
Gone but not forgotten. 7th round draft pick. We will get you back. He'll get 2 in the 8th just to make up for it. Ha!
He trades down so much. I could see Spielman having 2 8th round picks in a 7th round draft.
Yeah. He likes to paint a picture, I tell you what. Okay. With a shit brown brush. No. He does great. Okay, so, excuse me. Now getting back to, instead of my little snippets, the official here, March 10th, we'll fast forward to March 10th. Actually, on February 11th, doubling back. Nope, never mind. That was Greg Joseph. We already talked about that kicker, Greg Joseph. Going to March 10th, we released, we already mentioned it, Riley Reef. Again, Dan coming on March 9th and Riley coming on March 10th. I didn't have a feeling with hearing those 2 names being released of a Rudolph or a Weatherly, a feeling of like, oh, there goes a high impact player was consistent in their performance. Didn't have that feeling. So,
well, I had that feeling with Riley Reef.
That he was like an average, did his job.
He was a good player last year. It was a move also, again, that had to be made. I mean, it was $11.75 million
That's
in
a lot
cap
of money.
space we saved.
That's a lot of money.
And we needed to do that just to get down to the cap pretty much.
A lot of bingos.
It would have been nice to keep Reef for one more year, but I mean, with the lower salary cap because of COVID, and I mean, it was just a move that had to be done.
All right. And then on March 16th, 4 days ago, we released Shamar Stephan. Again, decent dude, been around for a while, left and came back. Had his moments, had his sacks back in the Ev, Daniil days, even B-Rob, I think.
Well, he's good against the run.
Yeah.
He is not a pass rusher.
Correct.
We were playing him at 3-Tech when he had no business playing there.
Yeah.
I mean, Shamar Stephan.
No hard feelings against him, but kind of more of a rotational backup dude.
No, not at all.
Served his purpose, had a good career, like you said.
We were playing him out of position, out of necessity. But again, salary cap. I mean, we need to save every penny we can, and cutting him cleared $3.75 million of cap. So
right.
I mean, especially after our big signing, it's just
right. You're right. He has a great replacement as far as just talent to talent. As far as just pure talent wise goes, you know, it's easy to say when you're not on the field, but he wasn't exactly the best, you know, defensive tackle we've ever had, you know, but he was a good dude, did his job.
He was good against the run.
Yeah, for sure. And he was on a good D-line a lot of his years that he was with us too. So, but yes, bon voyage, but we replaced him on March 17th. We turned around and agreed to terms with Dalvin Tomlinson.
Oof.
Now that Dalvins of destruction will be on the field opposite sides of the ball.
Boy, that is one massive upgrade at 3-Tech.
Man, him, Pierce, Hunter.
Well, those Alabama D linemen, they tend to be pretty good.
Yeah, everybody was excited about that signing. I am as well. Couple other signings also happened on March 17th. We got linebacker Nick Vigil, who came from the Chargers. He seemed to be a fairly decent piece on the Bengals and then the Chargers in 2019 with the Bengals, 2020 with the Chargers.
Well, I think he's a good special teams guy.
Special team, okay.
He's not going to be
a starting linebacker.
Yeah,
right.
I don't
Maybe
think
a fill-in if somebody gets hurt or has to sit out.
I wonder if they might have him in the base package for, you know, maybe a third of the snaps or something. I mean, we tend to play nickel, you know, half to 2/3 of the snaps anyway. At the very most, Nick Vigil would maybe be a 2-down linebacker. But I think special teams was just as important for why we signed him.
Okay. Hey, we need to kind of rebuild the special teams because we were pretty good there. We were top 5 special teams there for a few years, at least 3 years in a row there. And now I feel like that's been kind of bad.
Well, we're on our way. I mean, we brought Weatherly back. He's a good special teamer. And Nick Vigil, from what I've heard, is pretty good there. So,
all right.
Good stuff.
All righty. And then the third thing to happen on March 17th, the most disappointing re-signing of the whole offseason so far, in my opinion, is going to be Rashad Hill. Tackle Rashad Hill.
Yeah, I mean, well, we gave him, what was it, $2.3775 million for a swing tackle.
Who's usually getting fucking pancaked.
I don't know if I'd
half the time he's on the field, he's not doing great.
I don't know if I
thought we caught him not playing too hot a lot this last season.
Well, I don't want him starting for sure.
Yes, correct.
He's a good guy to have as a swing tackle. I think the contract we gave him is about the absolute most I would be willing to pay him.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like we may be very slightly overpaid for him, but I mean, the thing is, you never know what kind of O-lineman you're going to get out of the draft.
That's true.
I mean, we might end up taking a quarterback in the first round. Who knows? You know? So he's good insurance to have in case of like a worst case scenario for the O-line.
Body on the bench, as I like to say.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping he's the swing tackle and he's not, you know, the starting left tackle next year. That would not be good.
Yikes.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
I would be mad at the organization if he's the starting tackle.
With all things being equal, I'm okay with him being on the team, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. All right.
He's not terrible.
Who am I thinking of then if it's not him? Who else is a cardboard cutout or a revolving
Drew Samia.
saloon door? Samia, a cardboard cutout or a revolving
Samia.
saloon door. Samia, yes, Samia is pretty bad too.
Drew Samia.
There were 2 or 3.
I'm guessing you're thinking of him.
Probably, yes. Both of them. I felt like plenty of times when Hill was in there too, and he had some bad games, man.
He's had some tough games. He's leaps and bounds better than Drew Samia.
That says a lot. All right. Also on actually March 17th, even though it's not on the same line, Vikings.com, we agreed to terms with another, personal favorite. We had him shout out the podcast. He dropped the ball and then redeemed himself last season in a game. The one, the only son of Donald. Good old Chad Beebe.
Yeah, I like it. We brought him back for so cheap.
He's like, I just want to be on the team again.
Well, we could have tendered him a contract for around like $2.1 million, I think it is, because he was a restricted free agent, and we didn't tender him that contract. But luckily, he chose to re-sign with us, and he re-signed. What did he get? $910,000, $920,000.
It was not a mill. I remember it was not
under
a
a
million.
mill.
You're correct. It was under a mill.
Which I love him as a third down receiver. So.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. I still feel like he's got potential. He's got developing time. I mean...
well, he'll be fighting for the slot receiver position.
Right. He's one of those guys. He's got Thielen. He's got JJ now. It's like it's an uphill battle for him for catching time. You know what I mean?
Well, he'll be rotating in for 3 receiver sets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him returning punts. I would much rather have someone else returning punts. But as a third
fired.
receiver, fourth receiver, third down guy,
Mm-hmm.
love having him.
All right. Now, I think the last signing to mention here and the most exciting one, the most important one.
Oh, I think Dalvin Tomlinson's the most exciting and most important signing.
I'm not that fat.
Sorry to disagree with you, but no, continue.
Stephen Weatherly disagrees with you, Hammer.
I'm not that fat.
He's not that fat, all right? They
Okay.
only had a large shirt for him, and it didn't fit, all right?
All right.
They only had one size of shirt. Okay, so we brought in, I'm the most excited. I guess this position's just more exciting to me. It visually has a bigger impact on the field. We agreed on the 18th, we agreed to terms with corner Patrick Peterson from the Cardinals, from the Arizona Cardinals.
I think I've heard of that guy.
One of the best corners in the league for probably the last, I don't know how many years. He ain't a rookie no more. He's kind of a veteran now, but...
Well, it feels like he's been around forever because he's like an 8-time all-pro Pro Bowler, but he's only 30 years old.
Yeah.
He's not as old as you'd think.
Top of his game, man. Probably
That's a good signing.
It's like 1 year, but it's depth at corner, it's talent at corner, it's a potential shutdown guy again at corner like we
possible
missed with Rhodes.
move to safety.
Possible move to safety to fill a gap in at safety that we had with Ant-Man gone. Yeah.
Him next to Harrison Smith. That is a very nice thought.
Mm-hmm. Good old.
Well, Anthony Harris got juked out of his socks.
Hopefully he won't get juked out of his socks next to Harry the Hitman. But.
I don't think he will. But even if Patrick Peterson stays as a corner, I know we're in talks with Will Parks. That safety.
Yes. You want us to bring over Will Parks, yes.
Well, Zimmer loves Will Parks. So we've tried to get him a few times, like putting waiver claims in on him and everything over the years, and never quite been able to get him. But he's a free agent now, and the reports are we've been talking to Will Parks. So if we sign him, I'm guessing Will Parks will be the safety next to Harry, and then Patrick Peterson will play corner still. If we can't get another safety, I could see Peterson sliding over there. I guess it's hard to say exactly how Zimmer will use him, but we know Zimmer loves him.
Good.
He said he was over the moon that we got Patrick Peterson. So.
I think most of the fans were too, actually, because he's that well known. Even though he's been down in Arizona, I know his name. I know he's a good corner. I don't give a shit about that team. It's not like there's any fantasy relevance there that I've had any relation with him. And I know who he is, that he's damn good, and I'm excited to have him.
Well, having him kind of coaching up the younger players, like being a bit of a mentor, because a lot of our other corners are so young, there is something to be said for that too.
100%.
Now, personally, I think the most important free agent signing so far was Dalvin Tomlinson.
Yeah,
because
it's probably going to make a bigger impact in the long term and a very important spot.
Our run D was so awful last year.
Yep.
And to be fair, it wasn't completely the Vikings' fault. I mean, they signed Michael Pierce to be the run stopper, and then he opted out because of COVID. Getting a nice big guy at 3-tech next to Pierce that can actually rush the passer really well, too. Getting a big upgrade at 3-tech, that's going to do wonders for our D. I mean, everything just got so much easier for Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be able to just run all over the place with those two guys there.
Yeah, I mean, we've still put together I don't want to say a decent season, but our offense this last year clicked. If that defense can get back to form, the special teams can get back to form, we're going to be easily playoff bound again.
Well, our defense has definitely gotten better on paper.
Yeah, it actually was, just with the injuries, the sitting outs, the this, the that. I mean, technically, it didn't look bad on paper last year. It just didn't really pan out. But yes.
Well, and signing Dalvin Tomlinson also, I mean, it clears the way for us to take either an O-lineman or a quarterback in the first round this year. Because I'm sure if Christian Barmore would still be there at 14, that's another guy we might have had to take at 3-tech if he was still there. But yeah, now we don't have to worry about that. I mean, our 3-tech is set now. So yeah, we can look to other positions now. That's a good thing.
All right. That's about all that I had for the transactions, the updates, the snippets. Actually, a couple more little.
Well, Anthony Barr restructured his contract.
Correct. Yep.
Cleared almost $3 million of cap space this year, and it made him a free agent after this coming season too. Like we shortened his contract and took a year or two off the end of it.
I was going to say, didn't he do a 5-year deal not too long? I mean, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah. Well,
like 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this Anthony Barr's restructure, I guess, to be fair, that does put linebacker in as a mild possibility in the first round. I mean, if Micah Parsons from Penn State, that linebacker, if he's still there at 14 when we're on the clock, knowing that Anthony Barr is going to be a free agent, I mean, you might have to think of taking him.
Gotta grab. I believe in Ricky Boy.
It just depends on who's still there.
Right.
I mean, the guy I want the most is Trey Lance, the quarterback from NDSU. But yeah, we've got another episode or two before the draft. We can go through all that.
That would gotta love that time of year. Even I don't mind that time of year. Even I don't like to watch the whole draft like you do. Even I like the this speculation, what spots we're going to try to fill, where they're going to go, at what point. Of course, the first 2-3 rounds are the most exciting, especially the first round. But even I kind of like all the excitement around draft season.
Well, and the plan was originally for me going to be to fly down to Arizona and watch the draft with my mom. I'm not going to be able to do that this year, so at least for the first round, I will be on the Purple Pain forums for the first round, which is also a good time.
Which is what we did this for the 2020 weird virtual one.
Yeah.
We were over at your place on our laptops. I was kind of trolling a little bit on the forums, trying to stir up some comedy. You were just going, if we get this guy.
Purple Pain forums are a fun place to be during the draft.
Correct.
Rain Man's usually at the top of his meme game for the draft. The memes,
everything just so fast and furious.
Pretty good.
Just because when you're on a forum, it's not like a live chat per se. It's just posting. Like on a thread.
You're in the
when
draft
you're live,
thread.
Yeah, when you're live and everybody's constantly kind of going.
It's pretty close to a chat.
Right.
Yeah, because,
right.
I mean,
you're always refreshing, seeing if somebody else said something now. And
yeah, you got all these hardcore fans that are instantaneously reacting to the draft. So I think it's a blast.
It was fun. Watching the first round and being on Purple Pain was a blast. It was
Hey, you want to do that again?
probably.
Yeah, let's do it again. First
Probably.
round this year.
It got a little long in the tooth, but it was fun. It was fun. I think it was a good 3-4 hours for that first round.
Yeah, well, that's usually the first round. Usually is drawn out the longest.
Right. All right. Just a couple of positive notes here. Anything else for transactions then, or salary cap, or anything like that?
Britton Colquitt took a pay cut. We saved a little over $1 million with the punter. Taking a pay cut.
Okay.
It was kind of nice.
We've done a lot of money maneuvering, which we had our back up against the wall to do, so we did it.
I think a lot of teams have been scrambling.
Yeah.
It's the salary cap. Everyone's used to it constantly going up, and up. And it actually went down because of COVID. A lot of teams are
like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, a lot of teams were over the cap coming into this year because of it.
I wonder if there's going to be a few fines getting handed out in this transition.
I think the Packers might be in some pretty bad salary cap situation. I'm going to check on that right now, actually.
Good. I'll just sit and think about all the great things we can make fun of them for coming into the new season as you look that up. And I will just reflect on all of the years that I've disliked them and hated them and made fun of them and what's going on in Green Bay and
okay,
all
let's
of that
see.
good
As
stuff.
of right now, at least according to spotrac.com. Oh yeah, the Packers, they're actually right around where we are now.
Boo.
That they're at about a little over $3 million in cap room. It looks like they've kind of been doing the same thing we have.
Boo.
Cutting and restructuring some guys.
Boo earns.
Although Aaron Rodgers is set to have a $37.5 million cap hit for them this year.
And people thought Kirky Boy was bad.
Yeah, he's
right up there.
He's got a little bit bigger cap hit than Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you could argue. Anyway, last two upbeat positive notes I don't think I mentioned before. They were just snippets on the old computer here in the studio. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson outperformed all other wide receivers taken ahead of him. Ruggs and Judy was 1,308 yards and 5 TDs.
Oh, combined?
I guess. Lamb and Rager was 1,331 yards and 6 TDs, and then Justin Jefferson alone was 1,400 yards and 7 TDs. So
I actually like going into the draft last year. I liked Jalen Rager a little more than Justin Jefferson. Now Rager was hurt for a good part of the year, so he might still have better football ahead of him. But man, I am looking very wrong on that one.
Well, that's why you're not a scout in the NFL, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
And then one more snippet here. We might have mentioned this, probably mentioned this before, but with 1,349 yards, most receiving yards by a rookie, that is a franchise record for good old JJ number 18. We probably commented on that before.
Oh,
but regardless, still riding the bright spot of last weird, awkward season of a not even being 500 and not making the playoffs, but he was the bright spot, and it's still just fun to know that we've got him on the team.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, well, that was really it. That we didn't have any other segments, any other pre-recorded things, anything to, of course, no game or nothing like that to go over. So I think that's about it. We are at almost the 50-minute mark here. I think that's all the news we've got for you, Vikings Nation.
It was a good thing we waited until this weekend to record an episode, just so we would at least have some free agent news to go through.
Yeah, there was a lot to comment on by
we'll give it another month and
waiting the couple months here.
We'll have our draft episode next and maybe have a little more
pre-draft and post-draft. This was a pre-draft and a post-draft episode.
Now this year's draft episode isn't going to be nearly as long as last year's was. I didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of college games this year, mostly because of COVID. There were just a lot less games to watch for COVID.
Right.
There are still some players I like and everything. We'll go through all that next. But I remember last year it was, an hour and a half The draft episode, the pre-draft one?
I think so. I might have. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing an hour and a half.
Like
this
120 minutes or something like
time.
that.
We're this is going to be a little closer to maybe an hour, but
I mean, we try to shoot for an hour, not even anyway. More like 40 to 50. Usually we go a little longer. That's okay. Just as long as we're informing and entertaining our Vikings fans out there.
The guys that I like in the draft right now this year, they're mostly guys that I knew the year before, that were like 2 or 3 year starters, or they were starting the year before too.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them from that. This year, I mean, it was just such a bizarre year with a lot of games getting canceled, and there were some teams that only played one game the whole year, like NDSU. They only had one game.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I love Trey Lance, mostly from what I saw the year before.
Right, right.
So,
you got nothing to go on otherwise.
Well, he did
From,
just have a great pro day, too. Because NDSU just had their pro day a few days ago, sometime this past week, I believe. And Trey Lance looked like the stud I think he is.
Cool. I feel like we're going to be eyeing a quarterback in the near future, regardless of who it is or what position they're taking. I definitely feel like we will be getting another one soon.
Oh, absolutely.
Within the next year or two.
If Trey Lance gets picked before number 14 this year, then I'm kind of hoping we go offensive line. But if Trey Lance is somehow there at 14, I think you have to take him.
Well, we'll see where our priorities lie, because sometimes we're, how we're always value, not necessarily spot fill. So we shall see.
Well, right, but it would be considered a value pick if we took Trey Lance, because we have Kirk Cousins for 2 more years.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say you got to go best player available more often than not. Even though we probably need an O-lineman a little more than a QB right now.
Definitely.
But at the same time, we got to start planning for, life after Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm. And then with O-line, too, I mean, how many have we taken? And they haven't really been maybe that great in the end lately as well. So that's you never know what you're going to get as well in the draft. So we keep taking these picks, hoping for the best. Oh, this guy's going to be great. And then next thing you know, they're on another team 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later. So
well, I think we did pretty well last year anyway.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, Cam Dantzler in the 3rd round. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, both those 2 corners. I'm happy with both of them so far. So
I thought Dantzler was a 1st rounder. Like if I was doing a draft board, like Dan Chat does on the Purple Pain forums.
Dan Chat.
Cam Dantzler would definitely have been in my top 30. I mean, I thought he was maybe a top 15 player overall. Just watching the guy play, he's outstanding. And we got him in the 3rd round just because he had a tough 40 time.
Slow son of a bitch.
But he isn't actually slow, though. That's the thing. Like, I guess his training regimen, like somebody put him on a bad training regimen for the combine, is what he said. So he ended up kind of not being in the best shape at that time.
Right.
I guess he had like a virtual pro day after the combine, and he ran a 4.38, which sounds right when you watch him play.
Right.
I mean, there were plays at Mississippi State where he actually ran down Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Back when Lamar Jackson was playing for Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Like from the other side of the field, he would run Lamar Jackson down. So it's like, yeah, Cam Dantzler he's not slow.
Something's got to give here. Something's lying to us.
Yeah, I mean, normally the coaches and GMs say that they're just hoping the combine and pro day performances pretty much just back up what you see on tape, because then they know what to think. When they contradict, then that is kind of it's a decision that every coach GM has to make. Like, well, what do we trust more, the tape or the combine? So that's just the name of the game.
That's right. And it'll be exciting to dive into the draft. But that about wraps up episode 127 here on March 20th. This will be our, of course, only March episode here. It's a little later into March now getting it out. But yes, we had plenty of news to cover. Thank everybody. I just want to thank everybody for listening, telling a friend, waiting patiently during our partial radio silence there for the next episode. We do appreciate you coming around and listening. Please leave a review if you'd like, comment on social media, what have you. We always like to see feedback. We don't get a ton of feedback, so I'd love to see some of it going into our, sixth season now? I believe this is our sixth regular season. I think we've already got 5 in the books.
Yeah, this is this is
sixth.
going to be our 6th year of this podcast coming up.
All
Yeah,
right.
we started March of 2016.
That's
so-
right. That's right. Let's make it a good one. Hopefully it'll be a good one. I can't see how it's going to get any worse than last year as far as the games and the record and some of that stuff. So, yeah, it should be exciting. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And, check us out online, of course, odinsdenpodcast.com. I'm rusty on doing this after just 2 simple months. odinsdenpodcast.com. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitter. Wherever you want to check us out at. We'll be there. Just say hi if you want to say hi, but we will be back. Of course, check out Purple Pain, Vikings Gazette, and Vikings Territory and the Purple Territory Radio Network. Any final words from the Hammer?
Oh, well, I'm guessing we'll probably be back here the weekend before the draft for our next episode.
Correct. Yeah, pre-draft, after the draft, of course, a post-draft episode.
Yeah, clean up any new free agency stuff that might have ended up happening between now and then.
Yep.
But until then, hammer out.
Hammer is out. So is the A-Train. Have a good rest of your March, everybody. Stay safe, and, goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Odin's Den. Be sure to follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Get all of the latest at odinsdenpodcast.com. SKOL!
I'm not that fat.